Well, so thanks a lot for joining us today. I'm Axel Van Kwai from the Droify team. I'm the founder of Droify. And Droify is a platform that enables everyone in the world to convey a message with a drawing, even people who can't draw, because you can use the work of 40 visual storytellers around the world, combine them, and make your own visual stories. And next to that mission, to enable that, we also want to inspire people. We want to increase the skills of people in visual storytelling, because I'm a big believer that the world has enough text and enough bullet points. So I will do everything as long as I live to make the world more visual. And Droify is one of the things. And those sessions like we have today is another thing we do. And I see many faces I have seen like 10 times already. So thanks for joining every time again. And every time we invite an inspiring speaker. And today we have Andra, and she comes for the second time. And I got to know her as a Droify user. She's a very, very enthusiastic user. She talks about us a lot. Thanks for that, Andra. She got to know us through Miro, because we have a plugin on Miro, for those who don't know that. And that's how she fell in love with us, and we fell in love with her. And she has a lot to share with the community. And next to the fact that she's a Scrum Master, a facilitator, she's also doing a lot about neuroscience. And when people ask me what I want to learn, whatever, if you want to learn something new, what would it be? Well, I always say neuroscience, because the brain is the most fascinating thing we have, I think. There's so many things we think we have our lives under control, but it's not true. Our brain controls everything. And I think that's something that Andra is going to show us today, and especially how you can use it to decrease all kinds of emotions, such as frustration. So Andra, the floor is yours. And by the way, if you have questions, put them in the chat. I will monitor them and or speak up. That's also. So Andra, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you, Axel. Thank you for organizing, and also thank you, Jill, for organizing the session. Really happy to see you all here. Today, it's about how to reduce frustration at work using neuroscience, and it's about how to use the brain science, actually. Why am I here? As Axel, thank you so much for the introduction, said I do facilitation, and at one moment in time, I was wondering why some things work with some group of people and why with others not so good. And that's why I started to learn about the brain. I did trainings, I read books. This is one of them, Your Brain at Work, which gets a lot of inspiration. It's written by David Rock. And one of the things that he is writing in the book, it's about one of the main reasons why people are getting to be frustrated at work. And this is about getting perspectives, getting different perspectives in the room. So I will just share the link to the Miro board so that you can also, I will invite you to go there. I'm happy to see that we are so many, even if it's a summer special edition today. And thank you so much for coming here. And I would like to invite you in the Miro board to connect with each other, first of all, and also to connect with the topic of today. So I will also invite you to write there in the Miro board, what are the biggest frustration behaviors that you observed in different work environments, because of course we work in different industries, we work with different people, and it's interesting to know more about that before we learn how to solve them, also to know what actually brought you here, what are the frustration that you are entitled there. Let me bring everybody to me. I see that most of you are in Miro. I will not share my screen unless you cry that you don't manage it. In Miro, you also see a lot of drawings. So yes, it's the Droify app there that I use. And this is how actually I discovered Droify. The session goal is to discover through 2 experiments how to reduce frustration at work and explore why we create our own reality. And you will need a pen and a paper, so it's the right moment in time, if you don't have it, to also grab some pen and paper. And I will invite you just to connect with each other, because probably if you want after the session to exchange ideas or to connect with each other related to this or other topics, it would be a good moment in time to let your contacts there. And also, what are the biggest frustration behaviors that you observed in different work environments? Because I would be interested to know which kind of situations you have encountered so far. A little bit upon setting the expectations, as we are many people in the call right now, 28. It will be interactive, but it will not be using breakout rooms or direct sharing, let's say one-to-one. I will also invite you, of course, to unmute from time to time, but it's important for you to set also expectations for yourself, that it will be more working together but alone. And this principle means that we all work on the same thing, but individually, so that we all come to the same outcome. And I see that you
Andra,
already.
Can I ask a question? Is it important
Yes.
for the people who watch the recording that they see the boards? Because they are not going to be able to see the boards appear.
Yes, I can do that. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So I hope that's not, let's say, confusing for the people who are in the call. If it's like this, please tell me, and I will unshare. Maybe better for the ones who looked at the recording. Thank you for the hint. So I see that many people are connecting and also answering to the question there. I would like then, as soon as you can come back to that session, as soon as you're ready, we will start with the first experiment of today. Because we have only 1 hour, so I want to really use it in a smart way with you guys. So what I would like to ask you is to look to the Miro board, and there is a piece of Lego there. And I would like to invite you to take a paper and fold it 3 times. Let me just unshare for a while to show you how to fold it. So you have a piece of paper, you can fold it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Okay. So 1 piece of paper, you fold it 1, 2, 3 times. And then what you get is basically rectangulars. And then I will invite you to do something with it. I will also put the link to the Miro board for the ones who came later in the call. And thank you so much for joining. So as I see that everybody's preparing pen and paper, I hope you're ready. So that's why I will invite you now to the first experiment. I will invite you to look to the Lego picture, which you have on the Miro board, and write on the left side of your paper, so not on the left column, yeah, on the vertical, on one side, and if you want also on the other side, whatever comes to your mind when you see that green Lego, whatever your brain associates it with. And we will take 1 minute, which is long enough, I promise you, to write many, many ideas. Whatever you have in your mind when you look to that Lego brick, can be a tree, can be anything that you think upon, can be a park, can be a matcha tea, whatever you imagine when you look to that Lego brick. So I will invite you to write on your paper first, not on the Miro board. And we will take 1 minute for that, so that everybody has its time to just think upon what comes to your mind when you see that Lego brick. And I would also place a short music. You can use all the rectangles, but only the one column, yeah? So I will invite you now to stop writing or finish whatever you were writing. And as you have now on one column, some words that your mind brought to you when you looked at the Lego green brick, I will invite you to take a pen or whatever you have to draw. And I will invite you on the right side where you wrote to draw what you wrote on the left side. So if you wrote here a tree, I will invite you to draw a tree. And this you can do on both sides if you wrote so many ideas. And we will take another minute for that. So if you want, you can show, otherwise you can keep for yourself. If you want to show drawings or anything, otherwise don't share, however you feel comfortable. What I will invite you. Oh, okay, I see something. Thank you. And I will invite you to circle some of the words that you think are more funny, and to invite you to write them in the Miro board so that other people can also get inspiration. And I will bring everybody to me in the Miro board. There are these lila sticky notes where you can write whatever ideas you had on your paper so that we can get inspiration from each other. So this would be quite an interesting moment. I will read some of them while you're writing. Play, curiosity, let fantasy become reality. Oh, nature, grass, fun, building ideas, play, envisioning, build, playfulness, possibilities, inner child, building together, no progress, toxic, no communication, stovetop elements, electrode, connector, keyboard, sweets, toy, aid, fun, metaphor. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, you all had the same instructions. I invited you to just look to a Lego brick, and I gave you 1 minute, and I asked you to just write down ideas and then also to visualize your ideas in drawings. So I would like to ask you to invite you to write in the chat, why do you think everybody came up with so different things, some similar, but in general, as you see, very, very different ideas? So I will invite you to write in the chat. I will just stop sharing for a moment and to be able to read the chat better. And I just invite you to write, why do you think this happened? So, previous experiences, thank you for writing in the chat. Because we are all different experiences. Instruction was very open. I think we have different experience and passions. People might have made associations with their own experience, diversity of thought, thinking about specific past situations. Nice. We are on the same on the same direction because we all have different perspectives based on experience, context. It can be work, personal, or cultural. That's really amazing. So thank you so much for writing. On the same idea, I will invite you now to a second experiment so that you check something else as well. The first one, I will also come back to it and share other ways how you can use it because there are many, many other types of exercises that you can do. And right now I will share my screen and probably I will invite you to just look to my screen right now because there is a short video that I will share and it's better that you look upon it. There is no sound, so don't worry if you don't hear anything. There is no sound in this video. And that's the second experiment I would invite you to do today if you like to, after you draw something. As soon as the video starts, it's just like 1.5 minutes, I will invite you to write in the sticky notes or on your paper, wherever you feel comfortable. But at the end, I will invite you to just write in the Miro board so that we can also see what you thought. What did you see in this video? So it's a simple video, 1.5 minutes, no sound, and I'm inviting you to just watch it in silence. That means we don't need to talk in this 1 minute. And then I will also invite you to write down what do you see? There are some things moving there, and I would like to invite you to look to it. So let's see if this works. I will just start it and then ask if you see it, just for the sake. Okay, so you see something moving, right? Yeah? Okay, all good. And I will just let it run. That was it. So that's the video. And now I will just ask you in silence to write some sticky notes on what did you see in the video, because it's different for everybody. And that's why it would be interesting to also hear. So I invite you to write it. And I will just wait just for a second. Thank you so much for sharing and being here interactive during this session. I see that you wrote shapes, fighting, inclusion, triangles, bullet, violence, anger rising, escalating conflict, frustration, anger, shapes, bigger triangle, being mean to the small triangle and circle, emotion and story through shapes, frustration, ego, multiple victims, frustration, open and closed doors, interaction, conflict, playing, black lines, escape, people checking in, move around, unite. Wow, collegiality. So there are so many. A game between different shapes, like hide and seek with a sore loser. That's crazy, right? Everybody saw different things there. Some ideas are similar. And I'm coming back to the same question. Why do you think you look to the same video for the same amount of time and you saw different things? And this time I will invite you not to write in the chat, but I will invite you to write your reflections in Miro board, because I would like to start to keep the things that we write, but in a, let's say, structured way. So I will invite you to just write your name and then use the sticky notes under what, so what, now what. One example of the reflection that I invite you to do that would be what. It is normal that there are sometimes different perspectives about the same thing. So what, it's important for me to understand why a person has a different perspective and to accept it. Now what, collecting different perspectives shows I'm interested in hearing all the voices. And of course, frustration that they are not heard will be avoided. It's an exercise that I learned from the training from the back of the room concept. And the reason why, because I always explain the why I invite you to do that, is that we mainly learn from reflecting more than from experiences. And you just experienced um, two exercises, which were like more or less experiments and with the same meaning with different perspectives. So now I will invite you for 1 minute to just reflect on the board. So I'll bring everybody to me to make sure that you're on the right spot, and put again the Miro link in the chat for the people who maybe came a little bit later. So I will invite you for a short reflection, and as soon as the 1 minute is gone, we will continue.
Andra, I think someone entered the room right after you put the link to the Miro.
I will put it again. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
So time will be up soon, so I will invite you to finish the sticky notes. I want to check with you. Is it fine for you so far? Just to know where we are. I see people concentrated. Okay. I will invite you now to move your attention from the Miro board to my flip chart that you see in my back. I will try to pin myself that you see it better.
I spotlighted you.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. And I would like to explain a little bit what you guys already shared. It's upon why we create our own reality and why after these two experiments, which actually invited us to see different perspectives, we came with different ideas there. And to invite you to discover with me together how our brain works in that perspective. So we get from external environment different information through our senses, which I draw only 5 here, but many people say there are more. And I will just draw here a little guy. And there is a filter here because whatever we get from the exterior world, we filter through our own filters. And there are two types of filters that we are using. The first one is the process filter, the how. So how are we talking and how do we perceive the world? What is our main perception of the world? And here, for the people who want to know more, there is a relation with the process communication model that was invented by Taibbi Kala in 1970s, and it was used for more than 40 years at NASA to get the profile of the people who were going on outside of the Earth. And nowadays, it's used in many big companies to get to know the people in the hiring process, and it's used in many industries. And it helps us to identify how are the people perceiving the world, in which can be people like me who are perceiving the world in emotions, can be people who are more facts orientated, and for them the data is very important. Can be people who are very opinion based and they like to be asked all the time, what is your opinion? They value things a lot and they want to share to the world what they appreciate a lot. There are people who are more actions orientated and doing stuff and so on. So we get the information from the outside world, and there is a filter here in our brain, and this filter is connected to process filters, the how filters, but it's also connected to the content filters. And these are the so-called what filters. And many of you already related to that when you wrote in the chat that the reason why you saw different things was because you had previous experiences in your life. There were also people, for example, in other sessions who wrote there that they saw some child which was hiding from the parents who were fighting, or someone who was talking about playfulness and so on. So there are different experiences in our life. There are different, let's say, values that we have. We are all unique, and these filters are unique. It cannot be that I do have the same thing in my brain like Axel or like Jill or by anybody in the call here. We are all unique, and that's good because we can all grow together. So there are these two filters, and the information is filtered to that. And not only the filters are relevant, but also the state of our mind. What is our emotional state right now? It can be that we are in parts of the world where it's afternoon and we are tired, or when we are morning, we didn't sleep good, or we are stressed, or we are happy because we had something achieved, and so on. So all of these come to our brain from outside world. They come through these filters. through our own state of mind. And outside of that, we create our own behavior and our own response. And I will give an example now. Let's suppose you are in a teamwork and you have a bunch of colleagues, and your manager comes to you and tell you, I would like you from tomorrow on to put me in copy, in CC to all the emails that you're writing to clients. Okay. If I am a person who have a high, let's say, value on trust, and for me, it's very important that my manager trusts in me. That means that these content filters, one of them is related to the trust value. Then I will take this information from outside, this request that he wants me to put him in carbon copy in CC to all the emails. I will bring it through my own filters, and I will say, my brain says it's not really safe to do that. I consider it a threat, and I want to run away out of it. So my behavior can be that I just fly away. I don't want to, let's say, manage that. Some people are also fighting, which is probably not a good idea with a manager. Some people are also freezing because they don't know what to do and how to handle the situations. But this is their reaction because this is how their brain works. But let's suppose that I'm a person who has a high value on transparency. And for me, it's very important that everybody has the information, and I don't need to put an additional effort to connect with my manager and explain him what I do and so on. So the same request comes to me, and my manager asked me to put him in carbon copy, then my filter of high value of transparency is here, and my behavior this time is different because it's no problem. I also appreciate that he tells me that, because I do not lose time then to inform him or update him. So that's just the explanation of how our brain works in simple words, because that was the idea to bring you what is in this book, Your Brain at Work, and many other books and trainings in simple words. And these two experiments that you just did before are helping you to bring this awareness of perspectives. It can also be that you use them in your own sessions, and I will come back to that later to give you some more tricks on how you can use them. All good so far? Okay. I have something else that I want to show you. And I want to go a little bit deeper into that. Again, I would invite you to focus on me, my flip chart, and not the mirror right now, just not to confuse everybody, because I work with different methods. And in one of the articles that I will also share as a resource after this small session, I wrote an article about the 4 types of reappraisal that David Rock is writing in his book. Reappraisal means how to stay cool under any situation. And one of these types that I want to focus today, it's this repositioning. And this is, let's say, one of the situations which is most common met in all the work environments is the tension which comes out because everybody is fixed on his own worldview. Everybody thinks that his own opinion is the one that matters, and it's very hard for us because it's a different perspective to see the perspectives of other people. And I also experienced that when I was starting to facilitate a few years ago, because when I was in a session and somebody raised a hand and I have another opinion, and somehow my pulse was going high, and I was like, how can he have another opinion? And it's normal. And now it's absolutely encouraging, let's say, to find a way how to help the people to bring their opinions and perspectives together. So one of the things that I wanted to bring your attention is to find a new view to look to an event, whatever happens. You can put yourself in other person's shoes. And that's the relation with the reappraisal type, which is repositioning name, where you put yourself in the shoes of another person and you see the world from the other person's eyes. And in this way, you change the context. So that's the main idea of this reappraisal type. And that's the only way how you can actually see other perspectives. And I will also bring you one simple example here. Let's imagine you don't know a person, you meet a person for the first time, can be a client, can be a new colleague, can be anybody. And in the first meeting that you have with that person puts you a lot of questions. And for some people, I would say also for the introverts one, and I'm one of them, putting them a lot of questions can be stressing because brain is thinking, this is not safe. Why have this person asked me so many questions? Is it a problem with trust? Why do they want to know so many details? But actually, it can be that the person is just curious to find out more things about that specific project, that specific offer, or whatever the topic is of your talk, right? So it can be that your brain says, this is not safe, we have a trust issue, or it can be that your brain says it's okay because that person is just curious. And a lot of things, maybe also good things in general, come out of curiosity and questions that you put to other persons. So this example with questions and curiosity versus trust, I wanted to bring to your attention today, because in many cases, situations like this happen, and we need to be aware why. What is the why behind it? This is what I wanted to share with you. And now that I also presented something, I wanted to invite you again to look to the Miro board, and I will invite you again now to switch your attention to the Miro board. And I will invite you to go back to the same reflection area where you were before. And I will bring everybody to me. Now that you did 2 experiments, where you can use them, of course, in any sessions that you might have, to bring this awareness that everybody has a different perspective, and it's important to know the why behind it, and also to know when your brain kind of like gets stress out of it, to know what happens and why it's relevant, to understand other people's opinions. Also to reflect a little bit of what do you take out of that? What could you maybe use in your sessions? And I will invite you to go back to the same areas where you wrote already some ideas. So what is one idea that you heard today that for you it's relevant? So what means, what do you do with it? What is the meaning behind it? And now what? What is the action that you want to do? Simple things, just to take some time to reflect. Okay.
Andra, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Well, you said in the previous part that you have to find a new look to look at an event and change the context. But what if you can't do that? How do you do that? Because I think sometimes, very often, especially when you're stressed or afraid or angry, you don't see you don't see another way of looking at it. So
thank you for the question. I would say it's also relevant to know how to identify when you get stressed, because we all have different body reactions on stress. Some people get a high heartbeat or get red completely on the head, the body shaking, you're in the freeze mode, or you have the impression that you want to move. So there are different body sensations and body, let's say, red lights that you need to know and to identify them. Once you know that, I think it's important when you're in a discussion or when you are in a situation where you think that you're stressed, but you don't know yet that you need to change the context, like you said, to know how to regulate your emotions. That's the idea. And depends on the level of the stress that you are. If it's a low one, you can still use the brain to do it. You can try to move it to move to the other person's shoes, to change the context. There are these types of reappraisal that I will also share in the article. But if it doesn't work, I would say it's easier to regulate your emotions with the body. And there are many ways how to do that. One of the ways is just to take 3 deep breaths so that you have time to bring some new oxygen in the brain. One of the other methods is to ask for a restroom break, or just like go out of that environment and ask either to put the discussion a little bit later or even the next day in the morning, depends on the level of stress. And then you have time to reappraise, you have time to cool down and to come to a state of mind when you're ready to come back to the interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different methods. I will also put one article with the hand. There are 5 steps there, and many more. But I would say breathing, the types of reappraisal, and just pause a little bit would be something that, at least for me, works all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Does this answer?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Andra, thanks.
Thank you. Okay. So I see that you already write in the area in the Miro board, and thank you so much for taking the time to reflect. I will also take additional 30 seconds because some people like me cannot think while the other persons are talking. So in regards to that, I will just take another 30 seconds to give them the time. So still inviting you to reflect in the Miro board. Thank you for taking the time. And I will also invite you, maybe you have additional questions, to also place your questions referring to what we did in this session, because we will take some time at the end to do so. And I will invite you, if you want to write your questions in the Miro board, as we will come back to them in a few minutes. We have still 13 minutes to go. And so I will invite you now to write the questions, and then we will go on and come back to the questions to make sure that we have time to answer. So I see already some questions coming, and I will just answer shortly because there are not so many. Can you share the reference for the test they use at NASA? Yes, the PCM, I will put it in the resources so that you know where to find more information. There are a lot of free resources that you can access and also good training if you're interested to learn more. Also a book, it's called Understand to be Understood. I will put it in the resources for you to have a look. And the other question, can you put the book title, the author in the chat? It's already in the resources. It's the book of David Rock. He's the inventor of the Neuro Leadership Institute, and the book is called Your Brain at Work. They also have really good podcasts. If you're interested in neuroscience, I really recommend it. I also prepared for you other resources. There is a TED Talk, which is recommendable. It talks about the same thing that I talked about, getting perspectives, but there are 2 or 3 other experiments that you can look there, and you can also use them for your sessions. How your brain hallucinates your conscious reality. There are these minutes where he talks about that, but of course the whole talk is quite interesting. The power of visualization, how perception shapes our reality. Also the power of storyboarding, because, for example, one way on how you can visualize different perspectives is, of course, with drawing. And one of the ways that I like to use in workshops, especially, either in person or online. If it's online, then I do like to create some posters on the Miro board so that people can visualize things already. And they like to use the Joyfy app in Miro for that because they bring some little personas there to have some, let's say, emotions and some human touch as well, not only figures. There is another, let's say, bonus exercise that you can use in your sessions, and I linked it here. It's a very short energizer. It's called Jolt, and it's created by Tiagi. He's an amazing trainer. He's 85, and I didn't see a person with more energy than him so far. And the Jolts Tiagi circles, it's very well known, and it helps you to bring different the awareness of different perspectives in any group, independing of the industry or culture. The same with the other 2 experiments that I shared with you. This is the article that I was mentioning. I was mentioning the different reappraisal types, and here you will find the article with the 4 reappraisal types. And if you wish, I give you some homework. If you want to have some fun, there is a lateral thinking puzzle that I invite you to do. I will also share the PDF. Axel, I think I forgot to put it for the email afterwards. There is a donkey here, and you find the instructions here. And as soon as you find the solution, I invite you to write us or to tag us on LinkedIn because I will be curious. How long does it take? Yes, there's also a solution on the internet, but I hope that you first try it. It's really funny. And I use it also as an energizer in some teams where there is a moment in time in a session, in a training, or in a workshop where I need to invite them for creativity. And that helps them to think on the things from other ways. Yeah, let's see if there are other questions. Not so far. So what I will invite you now, I will invite you to also write down some takeaways. You can visit the what, so what, or no what sticky notes that you wrote, and also to take your time because we have only 1 hour. I would like to also still invite you in this small time that we still have, what to write, what is your biggest takeaway from this session? So what is something that you will apply in your everyday life? And I will, before we go there, I will just wrap up a little bit. The first experiment that that you guys did, You can use with anything. You can use with a Lego brick. You can use, there are also some Lego kits which have some ducks bricks that you can create a duck out of it, and everybody creates his own duck, and they are very different. You can use simple Lego bricks, like 6 Lego bricks. There are up to 2 million combinations out of 6 Lego bricks that you can use. You can use any drawing, either from Drawify, from the Drawify images. You can pick up anything from here and then ask the people to just imagine what is there. For example, if I look to this, I might say it's also a swimming pool and so on. And the second experiment, what I wanted to bring your attention is that this is very old. It's from 1944, and it was created by 2 psychologists, Himmel and Simmel, Heider and Simmel, and they are just random geometrical figures. So there's no logic behind it. If you use that, that's important for you to know, also to tell your participants. There's no logic behind it, but everybody sees different things there. So that's amazing what you can do in 1.5 minutes and how you can bring awareness in 1.5 minutes. Yeah, so just wanted to bring some attention to that. Good. So one thing before I invite you to share your takeaways is I would also like to invite you to a training which goes deeper into the neuroscience. It's a team dynamics bootcamp. You will get the link to register if you're interested. There is a special discount which ends up tomorrow evening, only for you, for the people who were here in the Drawify webinar. And with this being said, I will also ask Axel. I think you also have some things to share, and then we can go to the takeaways.
Thanks, Andra. By the way, thanks for this session. My takeaway is that small video, oh my God. You don't know what kind of stories I've created with those stupid triangles, and I'm shocked by myself. Wait, someone is trying to come in. First, open the door. So thanks, and I'm looking forward to hear the insights from the other people. In the meantime, I can say that we are still creating the agenda for the fall, so there will be new sessions, of course. There are some things that change. So now every session is for free, and the recording also. And we're going to change that. The sessions still stay for free, which is amazing. You still can join because a lot of people, we mostly have 100 people who subscribe every time. But we have also a lot of people watching the recording. And in the future, the recordings will be only available for the people who are on Drawify as a paid user. So, so if you want to join, you still can. If you want a recording, then you won't have to become a member of Drawify. So that's something that will change. So cherish this last free recording. But yeah, you were here, so you don't miss anything. But it's for the people who are not here. And then secondly, if you are a facilitator and you have the feeling you can be inspired to work even more visual and to work more about conflicts and resistance and things like that in a session by using visuals, then you are invited for a training in September with a very international group of people. It's Ben Crothers from Australia. It's Olina Glindevi from Sweden, Ben Walder from London, and myself. We will do a training in Antwerp, 2-day training in person, so not online, for those who want to increase their skills about facilitation. So it's about facilitation, but we will, of course, add a very important visual component, because that's, of course, also how we are trained. So yeah, that's it. So I'm looking forward to the insights that you have from this session. Andra, the floor is back to you.
Thank you so much. I just wanted also to invite the people in the meanwhile to share their takeaways. I see that you already do that, and I would also like to explore a little bit the Drawify world in Miro, because this is also how I found it out, and this is how I created today template, where you go to Miroverse. There are free templates that you can use when you search for Drawify. There are many different ones, and this is, for example, the team canvas. I use it, Axel, for putting together the team buildings outcomes, and many people love it in this way. So I use the team canvas in another way, for example. And the team bounce back, I also use it in many workshops, the meeting canvas, retrospective. So you have many, many ideas here, and you can then reuse them and do whatever templates that you might want to have. This is how I also created mine, starting from one of them. And I would like to say thank you very much for all the insights that you shared to us. I'm happy if you want to get in touch with me directly. You will get also a link after this call. I will be happy to chat directly with you if you have questions. And also say thank you to Jill and Axel for having me here. Really lovely. And thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it that you stayed with us.
Thanks, Andra. Thanks a lot. Thanks everyone for joining the session. And indeed, stay if you want to have if you want to ask questions.
Yes, we are happy to hear. If you have, you can just unmute, and we are here to support. Thank you so much. And I see a lot of nice thoughts there. Thank you. Maybe until I would just share a little bit, if it's fine for you, about how I otherwise use Drawify, because one of the things that I learned in another webinar from Axel is how to do carousels in Drawify. And this is one of the things that I really love. And for the people who are also doing a lot of content, this is very useful because you can just create multiple pages and they're exported as a PDF. And the interaction, the people interacting, it's going high and high after I started to use carousel. So thank you for that as well.
Oh, that's nice to hear. I know we asked a few users who started doing it, and some have like a increase of 50% and 100% and 25%. So it works.
Yeah, it's amazing, even if it's summer. So the engagement is very good.
Yeah, that's always I always say that it's like that, but it's always nice to hear that it's actually like it.
Yes.
There's a question. Can you repeat how to the instructions to find Drawify on Miro?
Yes. Yes. So you have here in Miro, if you don't have already Drawify, you have the plus in the apps. And when you go to plus, let's say you don't have it, and then you just write here Drawify and press enter to find it. And then you will install it. You can use different words to find their strategy, whatever. It's something that you would like, and then you just drag and drop the pictures, and you have some nice visualization. There are many, many images here from, yeah, maybe if you want to add something, I'm just, I can talk hours about it. So.
Thanks, Andrea. Go on.
This is how I got in love with Drawify. And it makes such a big difference because at one moment in time I was invited to share just like a workshop receipt to workshopper master community and say hi to the people who are here. I didn't have to visualize anything. It was just about how I created the workshop and what were the exercises. But I added little things like that, like the goal was this and the team gathering and so on. And the impact was so different. It was, when you search for team here for any kind of images, that's really a lot of things that you can use, and it's amazing. Also, this for trust has a big impact, like as far as I experienced.
There's a question from Jen, curious about the privacy of adding Drawify. So you mean the privacy of the company, and or what do you mean with the privacy?
I just tried to add it, and it just said if by doing so, it's going to allow Drawify to read and the board and access it and everything. Just because if I do use this for healthcare, so I don't want to expose stuff that would be violating privacy information here.
Yeah. No, we don't have access to what happens on Miro. So we got a lot of questions because we have a few months ago already more than 150,000 people who downloaded it on their and also very big companies and pharmaceuticals. So sometimes we get the request from companies, the same request, and we don't see anything on what happens of Miro. The only thing we see is the words that people look for, because that's, of course, that gives us the data to know what kind of drawings we have to add. So we only know the amount of words people are looking for, and then without knowing from where it comes, which words. That's all we know. We don't even know how many people uploaded. It's something we have to ask every time at Miro, because they protect, of course, their platform really well. And before we were added, of course, we were also very well audited before we could add it. So that's, but we can't see anything. So that's, no.
So, but I'm just like, so those words are only the words that you submit in order to do a search on images. It wouldn't be if I had a patient's name in there, it would not be accessible. Okay, great. Thanks.
So it's only indeed what you, so if you look for patient, we will see patient. And yeah, we just get a list like all the, I think we have already 4 million of words searched. So yeah.
No, that's good. It's just because that would be the first question that an executive would ask me if they saw that message that I'm looking at now.
No, we don't see anything. You see, you get a message that
it says this app has been added for Baycrest, and now you need to allow it. This will allow Drawify images to read and modify boards users have access to, which I have other boards. Like I've got like about 20 for all my different teams. So again, I just want to make sure I'm not, creating a risk that I would be then fired for.
By the way, if you are IT team ever ask questions, you can always contact us, and then we give the technical answer on that.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Maybe I can add on that, because I also work on a corporate, not only as a freelancer, but also in a corporate, and it can happen because I have colleagues in other companies. It's really differing the securities rules for every company, and it can be that you need to do a small request if the firewall or the VPN doesn't work with this app or Miro itself, and then they approve it because it's nothing that it's a problem, and that's it. So a simple request to approve it, and then it's easy.
Yeah. By the way, I will stop the recording because maybe it's